Thank you and welcome again. We have these sessions every Thursday, and we already completed introduction of entire Bhagavad Gita. Now what we are doing is we are reading verse by verse entire Bhagavad Gita, and now we are in the third chapter. And before starting, we will do a quick prayers. It's in Sanskrit. It's called Mangalacharan prayers. Mangalacharan means Mangal means auspiciousness. So those prayers which brings auspiciousness. So we'll sing a set of prayers. It's around 8 to 10, and then we will start our class. Okay. It's in the introduction, page 1. And if in case you don't have, then you can use your mobile. From there you can do. So we'll sing together. Only we'll do the Sanskrit verses. That's it. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakantamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapha Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Vipasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we'll go to chapter 3 and we'll go to verse number 9. Okay, everybody is there? Chapter 3, verse number 9. For big books, it's 146, and for small books, they can find out. Okay. Anybody? Okay. I think everybody has big books, so I have got this. Okay, so now we are in the section where, so in third chapter, we discussed that the acronym is Karma, right? This is basically to remember. So the third chapter is divided into 5 parts. Bhagavad chapter 3 is divided into 5 parts. And we already completed sort of two parts. The first part was from verse number 1 to 2, only 2 verses. And that is regarding knowledge or action. So Arjuna is asking to Krishna that at one level you are saying that one should develop knowledge, buddhi yoga, knowledge. And then other level you are saying fight, right? So how to understand? Either should I get into knowledge, jnana yoga, buddhi yoga, or should I fight? Like WE something, fight. What should I do? That is first 2 verses. And from verse number 3 to verse number 9, Krishna is talking about action without attachment. Right? So K was knowledge or action, and second, now Krishna is saying that you have to act, but without any attachment. Action without attachment. So today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, actually, if you see, it is said that small minds discuss people. You will see, when we don't have anything else, we'll discuss about some other person. This guy is doing like this guy is doing like that. Right? So it is said that small minds discuss people. Average minds discuss events. What happened that day in the event of football match or cricket match or soccer match. So they discuss about events. If you see in the news channel, it's all about people and events. But it said that great minds discuss wisdom. Great minds discuss knowledge. Great minds discuss spirituality. So, and Bhagavad Gita is one such book which discusses about wisdom, spirituality, knowledge. So that's why we should be very grateful that somehow or the other we got this chance of reading Bhagavad Gita. Once there was a monk, suddenly he got a call early morning. He was going from one place, he was going from London to some other place, and he got a call, but somehow because he was busy, he couldn't attend the call. So he thought, okay, I'll talk to him later on. And then he reached to the destination where he was supposed to go. And there he started distributing these books like Bhagavad Gita. And suddenly a man came there, and he said that I want this book, Bhagavad Gita. And then the discussion was happening between this book distributor who was trying to distribute the book. His name is Sutapa. Now he's Keshav Swami. So he just asked what made you come to the table and take this book. He said, interesting thing happened. Today morning, I called up a guy and I wanted Bhagavad Gita, copy of Bhagavad Gita. But somehow I did not pick up the phone. And when I came now, I'm seeing a book and Bhagavad Gita. And I called the same guy a month back also. But that time also he was busy. And he said, wow. So he said, what is his name, whom you were calling? So he said that I got this name, this number from one of my friends. He gave this number. And he said, just contact this guy and he can provide you the book. He was telling all this to Keshav Swami. So he said, what is his name? And that time, his name was Sutapa. Then he took renunciation, his name became Keshav Swami. So he said, his name is Sutapa. And the guy who was standing there, he was the same guy, Sutapa. So he couldn't believe. He said, no, this is some joke. And he said, no, I was told to call the guy Sutapa to get this book, Bhagavad Gita. And then he said, show your mobile. And then he showed his mobile. He didn't save the name full. It was just the name A he had saved. A, as fast, just keeping sometimes we just skip an initial first letter like this. So, and the number was same as this guy who was distributing the book. And he called that number. It was the same guy. And it was the same number that he got the call in the morning. So we see that how Bhagavad Gita can enter into our lives in a very fascinating way. Right? So we are just very fortunate. So now in Bhagavad Gita, in this section, what we discussed in last session, which was 3-4 weeks back, we discussed about Nishkam Karma Yoga, basically action without attachment, doing our activities but without attachment. And in the discussion, what we saw was, it's a very lofty ask, doing our duties but not having the attachment, right? Vaibhav was continuously thinking, how is it possible, right? But not having that attachment. We see in our day-to-day activities that whenever we are doing any actions, we have the attachment of the result, right? When we are cooking, we want how it will taste, continues that focus there. When we are earning, we want to enjoy whatever we have earned. So that nature of enjoyment is there. But here Krishna is saying in first 9, this 3rd to 9, he's saying that we should go beyond this attachment. And one can think it is a very lofty. So after this entire 9th session, 9th verse, Krishna is immediately taking like a slow gear and is talking that if you are not able to do that come to the level of karma kanda. Karma kanda means you do your activities, you can have the results, but do some sacrifice, do some basic sacrifice. That way, if you do some basic sacrifice, slowly by the act of that sacrifices, you will reach to the level of supreme detachment. And you can start that with slowly having some basic sacrifice. So this section from verse number 10 to verse number 16 is known as remnants. You can remember as remnants. What does remnants means? Result of some sacrifice. Something you have given and then you get something in return. It's in birthday celebration we call it as return gift, right? We give something and then we get some return gift. Or you will see in temples we offer something and then they give something in return, something, right? So, and in Sanskrit, I mean in English, one of the words that is used is remnants. So verse number 10 to verse number 16 is talking all about remnants, or in other words, results of sacrifice. So that R, karma R is remnants. Okay. So we'll now start. How we do is we read the verse, we read the translation, and any specific section of the purport, we read that then. Okay. And if something important is there, we'll just discuss, otherwise we'll go ahead.
So, quick question. So, Karma Yoga is, it can be only Nishkam Karma Yoga, or it could be Sakam Karma Yoga also, like,
Yeah. So, okay, that two words that you used, right? Maybe for many people it might be a jargon. So, when we reach the 11th verse, that time we'll discuss. Okay, the Sakam Karma. So, Sakam Karma means okay, let me discuss now. Sakam Karma means you are doing some activities, but little bit you want to enjoy the result. Little bit that motive is there. Okay, that is Sakam Karma Yoga. And Nishkam Karma Yoga means you're doing the activities, but Nishkam, you don't have any results in mind. You just want to do service for service. You say renunciates, right? All over the world, they're traveling and they're doing so many activities, food for life and all that, but they don't have anything that I want to have something in return. That is Nishkam Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga can have various levels. When we talk about Karma Yoga in general, it means Nishkam Karma Yoga. But we can also say it like it has what do we call it? A dog and Elphiston dog, right? Something like that you can think. So dog is there with special type of dog. So Karma Yoga, but when we talk about highest Karma Yoga, we talk about it as Nishkam Karma Yoga. Basically doing the activities but not having anything in return, not having any thoughts in return, basically not having any attachment to the results. If you get it, it's good. If you don't get it, that's fine.
So in material world, we actually start with the Sakam Karma Yoga, right? Then we move into
Yes,
Nishkam.
correct. And that's what 10th verse talks about. From 10 to 16, it will talks about where you will have something in some you want to enjoy. That enjoy mentality is there, but you want to also do that enjoying mentality in mode of goodness. Little bit of in mode of goodness. Basically, you want to also do something in sacrifice. If you do everything, if you see anything that we do in life, it is actually in one way, it is a sacrifice. You are going to 9 to 5 job. So what is the result of it? Salary, correct? For some it could be salary, for some it could be writing some papers, yes. Writing some research papers, it could be stocks, right? But the sacrifice is what? That 9 hours that you're giving, your time, your energy, maybe your money also in the sense of taking a ride from one place to another. So that's the sacrifice you're doing. And the result is money, correct? So in this way, everyone has to go through some sacrifice. Everyone has to go through some sacrifice.
Well, Nishkam Karma Yoga, are you bothered that the result is going to Krishna, or you are not bothered about that?
No, not necessary. In Bhakti Yoga, you will be more focused on that. I want to use that result in Krishna's service. But Nishkam Karma Yoga need not be. But at the same time, we, as a sadhaka, we try to understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead and how to use that activities in Krishna's service. Otherwise, it can become extended selfishness. We'll come to that more in the future verses. I don't want to make it more confusing.
No, just a quick question. So Bhakti Yoga is part of Karma Yoga. It is treated as a way of like, or method of Karma Yoga. Right?
Karma Yoga, when used completely in Krishna's service, then it will be Bhakti Yoga. Otherwise, it can have many layers. So, when you talk about devotional service, and when you talk about spirituality in general, spirituality is not like a cookie cutter. This is the only way. In Sanskrit, it is called yato. It is, let's leave it. So basically, it is not like there is only one way of spirituality. There can be many layers based on the consciousness of a person. There can be a highest level of spirituality. At the same time, there can be something starting. Also, there can be something that a person is not practicing at all. So there are many layers. So when you say, is it this, is it that? It's very hard to say because it has a lot of gradations. So one is, if you see Karma Kanda means you are doing everything basically to enjoy. That is Karma Kanda. Sakam Karma Yoga means little bit of enjoying mentality is there, but at the same time, little bit of mentality is there that I want to give my results to Krishna. I want to offer it because little bit we understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality Godhead. And then above that is Nishkam Karma Yoga, where you have understood that I don't want to enjoy this thing. Yeah, to Nishkam Karma Yoga, it can also mean Brahman realization. Why? Because you don't want to enjoy. You know that if I enjoy this, then it will lead me to degradation. Why? Because you are accumulating some karma. Now that karma is different from Karma Yoga. But then when we understand that, okay, it can lead us to level 0, where we don't want to enjoy at all and we don't want to suffer also. But then there is no active service. And then we go to the next part, which is Bhakti Yoga. Okay, I know this was too much. When we go through the verses, we'll discuss it more in slowly.
Thank you.
For some people, they have been coming from a long time, so they're asking little tough questions. Okay, so now we'll start. So now, again to revise, Krishna spoke about Nishkam Karma Yoga or action without attachment, which is little lofty. So now Krishna is saying that, okay, you can't do this. Let's come to the level of how we can start at our spiritual level. So this is now 10 to 16 is all about remnants or results of sacrifice. You are offering something to get some results. You can repeat after me. Sahayagya prajashishtva Purovacha prajapati Anena prasavishwadvam Esha vostishta kamadhuk. Okay, who wants to read the translation?
In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with the sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation."
Yeah.
Purport also?
No, purport will skip. It's already 7:42. We'll go slowly. So, okay. We are verse number 10. So here what he is saying is, Lord Vishnu is saying, verse number 10, right? So Lord Vishnu is saying here, Krishna is saying that in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures set forth generations of men and demigods. We'll discuss what are demigods. Along with sacrifices for Vishnu. So when Vishnu came, Vishnu basically is eternal, Lord Vishnu, along with it, two things happened. Yajna, which is sacrifice, something so that what will human beings, when they come, what will they do? So living entities and Yajna, both came together. And along with it, demigods also came. We'll see what is the connection in the next verse. Before that, there are 4 aspects that we have to understand before going ahead. There is God, there is avatar, there is demigod, and then there is a living entity, or you can think of it as jiva. Okay. Before that, in Sanatan Dharma or in Hindu theology, many people have a misconception that Sanatan Dharma is polytheism, which means many gods. Okay. However, some people also have a misconception that actually it is not polytheism, it is monotheism, which means
Only one
God. However, the Vedic scriptures, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam specifically, it explains that our Sanatan Dharma is neither polytheism nor it is monotheism. It is a specific word. You can try to remember. It is little tongue twister or mouthful, but we'll break down that entire word. It is mono in the sense that there is one God, but he comes in male and female counterparts. So that way it is bimonotheism. Okay, Krishna comes as Krishna, and there is a female counterpart as Srimati Radharani. So Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So it is bimonotheism. But then we also read in Srimad Bhagavatam in 1.3 chapter that there are lot of avatars also, lot of forms of Krishna in terms of Lakshmi and Narayan, one of the forms of Krishna. When Narayan is Krishna and Lakshmi ji is Srimati Radharani. Then we have Lord Ramachandra and Sita. So that way the acharyas or devotees, they quote that our Sanatan Dharma is polymorphic bimonotheism. Polymorphic, that means it has many forms. Polymorphic, bimono in the sense of the monotheism which is there, he comes in male and female counterparts. So bimonotheism and polymorphic. So polymorphic, bimonotheism. Everybody understood? So if everybody tells you that what is Sanatana Dharma, you say polytheism. Say no. It is polymorphic, bimonotheism. Then the thing comes, when we talk about Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu, what is the connection? Correct? So can you close the door? Yeah. I was saying that they will be chanting inside. So that's the effect. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, it is mentioned various incarnations of the Lord. Kurma Avatar, Lord Narsimhadev. Like this, there are various incarnations of the Lord. And then in verse number 1.3.28, there is a beautiful verse which says, which I forgot, Ete chamsha kala pumsha Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam Indriyari Vyakulam Loke Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. So I'll repeat again. Ete chamsha kala pumsha. So there are many incarnations, and there are many incarnations of those incarnations. Okay. So there are many incarnations, there are incarnations of that. There are some incarnations. Ete chamsha kala pumsha Krishnas tu Bhagwan Swayam. And then it says that but, tu also means but in Sanskrit. Krishnas tu Bhagwan Swayam. But Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then it says Indriyari Vyakulam Loke Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Indriyari. Ari means enemy. Indra means Indra, Devta. Indrari, the enemies of Indra are always in anxiety. Mridayanti Yogi Yogi. Whenever Krishna or his incarnations come in this material world for various reasons. We'll see those reasons in 4th chapter. So, go ahead.
Isn't Krishna an avatar of Vishnu?
Yeah, so good question. Thank you, Priyanka, for asking that. That was the second. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Saya Priyanka. I always get confused. Sorry, yes. So, yeah, this is another misconception. The reason is because Krishna, when you think of Krishna and Lord Vishnu, there is not much difference. But how you can think of it as is, when Lord Krishna doesn't show certain qualities, he is Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu is sort of a superintendent or the fountainhead of entire material world, of the maintenance of the entire material world. Lord Vishnu. And Krishna, from Krishna, why we say Vishnu is coming is because, why there is another misconception that we think that Krishna is coming from Vishnu. The reason why we think like that is because in material, whenever Krishna comes, he is coming through how? Through the material world which is maintained by
Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu. Correct? So it's like the home is maintained by Lord Vishnu, and the gate, if someone is entering, we might think that, oh, he's coming from that gate, that means he's born from that gate. We'll not say that. But from the scripture point of view, because he's coming in the material world, we have that misconception that, oh, he's coming from Vishnu. But based on this words, it says that there are many incarnations, sub-incarnations, but Krishna's tu Bhagwan Swayam. And then when we read entire Srimad Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita, another text, we understand that how from Krishna, Balram comes from Balram, the Chaturvyuha that comes from Chaturvyuha, that 3 kinds of Vishnu comes. And yes, we'll not go there, that is too much into depth. But the point is, there is avatar, so we discussed avatars, and then Krishna, or Supreme Personality of Godhead. But at the same time, you have to understand that there is no difference between Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna in the sense of God at home. There is another way how acharyas put. God at home is Krishna and God at work is Lord Vishnu. because he is the one who is maintaining the entire material world, like that. And when certain qualities are not shown by Krishna, then he is Vishnu. And Krishna and Vishnu in sync, they are known as Vishnu Tattvas. Okay, we'll discuss more in detail in the 10th chapter, 8th verse. Then, so we discussed God and avatars. Then comes demigods, which is mentioned here. Men and demigods, right? So you can think of them as higher beings. They are still Jiva Tattvas, like ordinary beings. But to your question of Sakam Karma Yoga, so there are people who wants to just enjoy life. Then there are pure devotees who are completely detached. And then there are people in the middle, they are known as Sakam Karmis, who want to control the things, but at the same time they want to serve Krishna. And these people are primarily known as demigods or devatas, in other words. Indra, Surya. So Surya is able to control the heat, Indra is able to control the rains, right? But at the same time they are using their Krishna is taking their service in the sense of they are using all this in the way to serve Krishna. Because you need to have all these in place. So who is controlling? That is Indra through Vishnu. So those are demigods or devatas. And then there are jivas. So here Krishna is saying that I have to make demigods because if you're not able to do bhakti yoga, which is topmost yoga, you can offer the sacrifices to demigods. That we will see in the future verses. Okay, but the highest dharma which is mentioned for this Kali Yuga is mentioned as Sankirtana Yagya, which you are doing just now, which Nityanand Rai was doing. Sankirtana Yagya means chanting of the holy names of the Lord. In Sanskrit it is known as mantra. Mantra means mana trayate iti mantra, one that delivers the mind. How many of you have not thought from last 50 or 1 hour about anything else but whatever I have discussed till now? No, right? Something or other has been going. That is the nature of the mind. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Mind keeps on going here and there. But to control the mind or to deliver the mind so that the focus is on Krishna, it is said that the chanting of the holy names of the Lord is subscribed. It is said that one should chant the holy names of the Lord to control the nature, the fickle nature of the mind. It is mentioned in 10th purport. We can go to in the age of Kali, in the last almost the last paragraph. Before that verse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7th line. In the age of Kali. Can everybody
last
see
paragraph
that?
also starts with in the age of Kali.
Yeah.
Okay, so second last paragraph. Second last paragraph.
Second last paragraph, there is a sentence in the middle.
Yeah, in the age of Kali.
Okay, in the age of Kali, the sun.
Vaibhav, you want to read loudly?
In the age of Kali, the Sankirtan Yagna is recommended by the Vedic scriptures, and this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtan Yagna and Krishna consciousness go well together. Lord Krishna in his devotional form as Lord Chaitanya is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as follows, with special reference to Sankirtan Yagna.
You can skip the verse, you can go to the translation.
In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates, by performance of Sankirtan Yagna. Other yagnas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali. But the Sankirtan Yagna is easy and sublime for all purposes as recommended in Bhagavad Gita also.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead. I'll tell after.
Why is it called yajna? Like Sankirtan yajna, why is it sacrifice?
So, what does yajna means?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Sacrifice means what? Sacrifice means sacrifice. Leave it. Sacrifice means you're giving up something, right? Like husband tells to wife, "I've sacrificed so much for you," and wife also says, "I also sacrificed so much for you." Sacrifice means giving up something, correct? So when you are doing the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, you are sacrificing your time, right? You could have WhatsApped early in the morning, right? Or you could have seen cricket match, late night match. You couldn't have seen, and then early morning you're first opening Google Chrome and you're watching what is the score. Instead, you're sitting and you're trying to chant the holy names of the Lord. So that is Yajna, Sankirtana Yajna. And why Sankirtana? Kirtan means to glorify. Kirtan comes from the dhatu or the root word kirti. Kirti means to glorify. So when we do kirtan, we are basically glorifying the Lord. And Sankirtana means we are glorifying in together. Sankirtana. That's why it's called Sankirtana Yajna. So did that answer your question? Go ahead. What's your name?
Chinmay.
Chinmay. Okay. Now I want to ask because I screwed up on it. So, Chinmay, go ahead.
So the question I had is, you mentioned about mind, right? Focusing, like you asked the question, who's not thinking about something else but Vashmana. So here it says chanting the names of, sorry, pardon my language if I'm
No, it's good language.
Yeah. So chanting the name of Lord Krishna will help you to focus and so on. But isn't that exactly what we do in everything? Isn't that, I mean, not just in the case of Krishna in this case, but isn't that the case for everything? Like whatever we want to do, if we keep repeating the thing for a longer period of time, then eventually our mind will be focused on that.
Yes, but it will be chanchala. It will be focused at the same time. There will be times when you will not be focused. For example, if I tell you for next 1 hour, keep on talking about Coca-Cola, right? So even if you take lifetimes out of lifetimes, still your focus will not be completely on Coca-Cola because it is not coming from a spiritual realm. But Hare Krishna Mahamantra, based on the Vedic scriptures, it is saying that it is coming from a spiritual realm. And when we chant those mantras, then, like Coca-Cola is not a mantra, this I was just saying. But when we sing something which has a spiritual potency, it helps us to increase our focus. That is at material level. That is one thing. Another thing is, whom are you chanting about? Krishna. The other name of Krishna is Rishikesh. What does Rishikesh means? One who is the master of the senses. And one of the 5 senses and 6 senses considered to be the mind. So one who is the master of the senses can also be able to control our mind when we are focusing on someone who is the master of the senses. That's right. And obviously there are very many books. There is a book called Kali No. Kali Santana. It is a tongue twister, so I forget all this. There is a scripture, Kali Santana Upanishad, where it is mentioned that for this age of Kali, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare is the mantra that we should chant for this Kali Yuga. If you see, for every yuga, there is a different yajna being performed or different dharma. Let me call it dharma. During Satya Yuga, if you see, there are a lot of austerities being done. Like if you see Dhruv Maharaj, he goes to the forest and on one leg he's standing and he's doing the austerities. Correct? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now if I tell you to stand on one leg, you will say, oh, I will do it only during yoga time. Right? But continuously you will not be able to do. But at that time Dhruv Maharaj did it. Right? And then if I tell you that, and then that was Satya Yuga. In Treta Yuga, the dharma was to perform ahutis, sacrifices, in terms of fire yajnas and all were performed. If you see Lord Ramachandra, he performed the fire yajnas, correct? Ashwamedha yajna, fire yajna. But that needs a lot of money, and we are not Jeff Bezos, right? We are short of little money, correct? So that time it was very costly. Ashwamedha yajna the horse has to go through our entire world, and if anyone is challenging, you have to fight and all that with all the armies and all. Right now we are alone, right? So no money, correct? No money, so that's why it is not feasible. And then in Dwapar Yuga, the dharma that came is to do deity worship. And if you see in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that how the gopis, they used to go to temple and they used to pray to Krishna. So deity worship they used to do. And deity worship, if you see, it has a lot of yama and niyama, a lot of rules and regulations. And there are a lot of chances that one might do some offenses. That's why that is also not very, very feasible to do. And that's why in Kali Yuga, where things are already very difficult, it is mentioned that one should perform Sankirtan Yajna, which is chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And that's why you see all over the world, when you go to any place, you will see people dancing and chanting the holy names of the Lord. And also because it helps to focus our mind also. So that's why in this age of Kali, the Yajna, which is called as chanting of the holy names of the Lord. It's there is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, "Kalo." What is that verse? Nidhe Rajan Asti Ekam Mahan Guna. Kaler Dosha Nidhe Rajan. Kaler means Kali Yuga. Dosha. There are a lot of doshas, lot of faults in this Kali Yuga. Right? You see, we put something in production, it breaks. Right? Something or the other happens. Right? You put in something. So there are a lot of faults. Something or the other mistakes happen. Something happens. Right? So Kaler Dosha. There are a lot of faults in this Kali Yuga. Kaler Dosha Nidhe Rajan. Ocean of faults, not just some faults. Ocean of faults are there. Right? Nidhe means ocean. Ocean of faults are there. Rajan. Oh Rajan. Rajan. We used to hear it. Oh Rajan. Right? In serials. Kale dosha nidhe Rajan. Asti ekam mahan guna. But there is one very good quality in this Kali Yuga. Kale dosha nidhe Rajan. Asti ekam mahan guna. Kirtanat eva Krishnasya. Kirtanat eva Krishnasya. Chanting the glories of Krishna. Mukta Sangha Param Vijay. One can deliver himself from all the problems of life. Srimad Bhagavatam, it explains like this. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. Now that was more like an introduction that Lord Vishnu brought Yagya, men and demigods. Now we'll see what is the connection between the three. Men, when we say obviously men and women both. Jiva basically. And why? So that at least we can do something. And what something is mentioned here in 11th verse. Okay. Now we'll go to the 11th verse. You can repeat after me. Devan bhavayate nena.
Devan bhavayate nena.
Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Parasparam bhavayanta.
Parasparam bhavayanta.
Shreya param avapsyata.
Shreya param avapsyata.
Whoever is reading, they can read the last paragraph of the purport as well. Who is reading? Go ahead.
The demigods being pleased by sacrifices will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. Last paragraph.
Yeah.
Performance of yajnas has many side benefits, ultimately leading to liberation from material bondage. By performance of yajnas, all activities become purified, as it is stated in the Vedas. Ahara Shuddha Sattva Shuddha Dhruva Smriti Labdhe Sarva Granthina Vipramoksha. By performance of yajna, one's eatable.
This is important. Okay, this was the reason I was saying. This entire, there are two flowcharts in this entire section. This is the first flowchart. What happens when you offer the food and then eat? Okay, basically you are eating the food which is already offered as a sacrifice. Go ahead.
By performance of yajna, one's eatables become sanctified, and by eating sanctified foodstuffs, one's very existence becomes purified. By the purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified, and when memory is sanctified, one can think of the path of liberation. And all these combined together lead to Krishna consciousness, the great necessity of present-day society.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, it basically means that we'll see this entire theme is discussing the same thing from 11 to 16 about whatever we are doing, whatever we are eating also, we should first offer it to the Lordships. So that's why whatever you're going to eat today also, basically it is first offered to Krishna as a sacrifice. And then what we eat is remnants. That is the reason this section is known as remnants. Result of the sacrifice. So we offer it something and then what we get is remnants. So same thing. When we offer, and just by eating prasadam, in Sanskrit it is called as prasadam. Just by eating the prasadam, once one gets purified and one starts asking the highest knowledge, which is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Why am I here? What is the goal of life? Right now we are all running, but we hardly get a time to ask, why am I here? Who am I? Am I this body? Am I this mind? Am I this intelligence? Right? Who am I? This question, we hardly get a chance. That's why when we keep on having prasadam, just by the mercy of it, we purify our existence. Existence means, who am I? We start asking that question. Who am I? And then based on that, our final tissues become sanctified just by the eating. And we see that various examples in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is a story of Shivananda Sen, of a story of a dog. And we will not get there because of the lack of time. But we see that how just by eating prasadam, just by eating anything which is offered first to Krishna, slowly our existence become purified. And then we start asking the higher nature, basically, who am I? Who is God? What is the relationship between me and God?
So in this this verse in Sanskrit, Ahara Shuddha Sattva Suddhi, does it mean that eating that purified or sacrificed food from sacrifice, we can reach to moksha just by eating that?
By eating, because you start asking slowly. That is the starting step. That is starting step. And slowly, just by doing that, you will start asking that. You will. There is one. Anyways, I'll not. There was one devotee basically who used to just come to temple and just for prasadam. Many of us came like that only, just to eat Krishna prasadam. And just by doing that every year, and nobody got the time to talk to him and all. And slowly he used to just come and eat prasadam. That went for 10 years. And then one day he just thought that, I'm coming here, I'm eating prasadam. And slowly he got just attracted to the deities, Radha and Krishna. And then he wanted to understand more about Radha and Krishna. And then he took the book, some books he took, started reading the book. And then slowly now he's a pujari in that same temple, full-time pujari. And how it happened is just by eating prasadam. So what happens is basically when you keep on doing, because that it's mercy. Other name of prasadam is actually mercy. It is the mercy of the Lord. So when you are continuously taking that mercy of the Lord, slowly your existence becomes purified and you start getting attracted to Krishna, and then you start asking the questions.
The yajnas mentioned here, is it only Sankirtan?
So one thing, sorry to interrupt. Srila Prabhupada here he is talking about offering of food to Krishna in the last paragraph. But Krishna is talking about in general about any sacrifice. Okay, this is talking about men and in general jiva and demigod. Like I'll give you an example. I'll come to your question. I want to clarify this because we are talking that if you are not able to do that, at least what we can do, correct? And we will see that in 12th verse. I'll give you an example that so many of you might be from Mumbai University or maybe done your bachelor's. So there was one paper, it's called ECE, and I really struggled with that exam. I wrote paper worth of 35 marks. The passing was 40. I knew damn sure even Krishna couldn't do anything now. It's like 35 marks and 40 was needed to pass the exam. So then I thought, okay, there was a nearby temple, and I used to always see my mother in childhood to pray to Lord Shiva. So then I thought, now anyways, nothing can be done. I'm doomed. And I was already asking some seniors, if you get KT, it's called KT. I don't know what is the full form of KT. But basically, if you fail, you get a KT. I used to ask my friends, seniors, if you get 1 KT, then what happens? If you get 2 KT, what happens? Anyways, so then what I did is, for this, then I took a sankalpa that till the results come, every day morning I'll go to Lord Shiva's temple and I'll offer water to Shivling. That time I was not in Krishna consciousness. I was in bachelor's. And every day I did that till the time that results come. So what was that? I was doing something for material benefit. Right? So this is what Krishna is telling here. That you do some sankalpa, you do some sacrifice, and in that return you will get some material benefit. But it is still okay. Huh?
Did what?
Yeah, I got 41. I still don't know. But I actually forgot what I was saying. But why Krishna is saying that just by doing that, one basic thing that you will start understanding is that you are not the controller. There is someone higher than you. There is some authority. Just by understanding, okay, these are some authority. Okay, who are the different authorities? Those are supreme authority. Just by doing that at the start, just doing that basic sacrifice, at least you will have that understanding that there is some higher authority. And that's why Krishna is saying that if you can't do that supreme yajna, which is Sankirtan yajna for this Kali Yuga, at least have that relationship between the higher authorities and yourself by doing some sacrifice. even if it's okay, even if you're doing the sacrifice for something in return. And that is one way it is known as Sakam Karma Yoga. That you want something in return. Right? Like there is a song in Hindi. I'll leave that. So there is a prayer, basically that bhajan, where we say that Jai Jagdish Hare, right? And in that entire song, if you see, we are asking for something, right? We are asking for something. Like in English, there is a devotee said, a house by the sea, 3 gig MP3, a color TV, Jai Jagdish Hare. we are praying to Lord to get something in return. It's like a waiter. Ting 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 ting, get me a water. Ting ting ting, I want a house. Ting, I want a car. So you are asking something in return. And Krishna is saying that it is okay to start with. And that's why he changed the gears. In 11th verse to 16, he's just talking about offer something in sacrifice, even if it's okay if you're asking for some material benefit. At least you'll have that understanding. It will not be an animal life where you think that I am the supreme controller. I know everything. I can control everything. At least that understanding you don't have. Your question, did I answer? You asked the question. Okay. Go ahead. Chinmay.
Yeah. So, is this what Krishna is saying? Is this situation because of the Kali that you start with this? It's
No,
okay to start with
it was
this.
always Hiranyakashipu also had the same mentality, right? If you see Hiranyakashipu also, obviously there was a demoniac mentality. We don't want to go there. But if you see in Govardhan Leela also, it is the same thing, right? They are praying to Indra, correct? Because Indra brings rain. And then there's a discussion, right? So, when a Sakam Karma Yoga, the nature is to lord it over the material nature, at the same time serve Krishna. But when the serving Krishna reduces and lording over material nature increases, then one is falling below towards the Jiva level. Like, for example, you see Indra, right? Suddenly pride increased, right? And he was not able to identify Krishna. But at the same time, if one's service to Krishna, that consciousness is increasing, and the material lording over material nature is decreasing, then he is raising higher more towards pure devotee. But did that answer
So
your?
it's not because of the time. It was
Now it has degraded more, but it was always there. It was always there, in some form or other. Raisa, go ahead.
One question. Yeah, what did you guys being on Shiva Tattvas before in material worlds? How did it go?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. I was about to clarify. So demigods and jivas, when we say ours, there is no difference in the sense of tattva. They are also jiva tattva also, and we are also jiva tattva. But because of some karmas or some sacrifices, they get the post. Like how we can think of now Biden has a post, right? President, right? When we say president, we doesn't mean president means Biden, because the post is changing. Similarly, Indra is also a post. In next yoga, it will be Bali Maharaj. So like that, it's a post where certain jiva gets certain by doing some good karmas, one reaches that post of like Brahma is a post.
So
Shiva is not.
Shiva is not. That's a special. I don't want to get there. He's a special.
So
He's a
demigods
Rudra
are
Tattva.
like-
It's not even Jiva Tattva also.
So demigods are like appointees in the spiritual world, or is it?
No, material world. So why they are appointees is to do some particular activity. You need people, right? Jeff Bezos cannot do everything in Amazon. He needs people. Similarly, there are people to act, and obviously they also want to lord it over the material nature. So you need to give them some service. Through that purification itself, they advance. Like how we are, when we come into Krishna consciousness, we are doing the same thing. We wanted to enjoy, but through our purification process, by somehow maybe by offering some food, giving some donation, coming to temple, we are purifying ourselves. So similarly, they wanted to do. They had some desires, because of which they are doing some activities. But just by their purification process, by doing that activity, at the same time offering it back to Krishna, they are also advancing in their spiritual journey. Okay. We'll go ahead. 12th verse. Okay, now we have to rush. We have only 15 minutes. Otherwise, we will not be able to complete. What was the topic of this section? Remnants. Okay. Ishtan bhoga hi bo deva.
Ishtan bhogahi deva.
Dasyante yajna bhavita.
Dasyante yajna bhavita.
Te dattan apradayebhyo. Yo bhungte stena eva sa.
Yo bhunte stena eva sa.
Who wants to read?
In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief.
Right? Our very basic existence in terms of having the body, it is because of demigods, it is because of devatas. The heat that we are getting is because of Surya Dev, right? Moon, Chandra Dev, for everything there is someone. And when we are not having the gratitude for them, then we are certainly a thief. When we are not reciprocating. As a Grahastha ashram, in Grahastha ashram or in householder life, one has to perform certain yajnas, bare minimum yajnas. It is mentioned in first paragraph. Okay, can someone read the entire first? Yeah. But can someone read the first paragraph completely? First paragraph completely will read. Who can read?
The demigods are authorized supplying agents on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Therefore, they must be satisfied by the performance of prescribed yajnas. In the Vedas, there are different kinds of yajnas prescribed for different kinds of demigods, but all are ultimately offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who cannot understand what the Personality of Godhead is, sacrifice to the demigods is recommended.
Yeah, correct. This is what we are discussing. Go ahead.
According to the different material qualities of the persons concerned, different types of yajnas are recommended in the Vedas. Worship of different demigods is also on the same basis, namely, according to different qualities. For example, the meat eaters are recommended to worship the goddess Kali, the ghastly form of material nature, and before the goddess, the sacrifice of animals is recommended. But for those who are in the mode of goodness, the transcendental worship of Vishnu is recommended. But ultimately, all yajnas are meant for gradual promotion to the transcendental position. For ordinary men, at least 5 yajnas, known as Pancha Mahayajna, are necessary.
And so it is mentioned that at least 5 yajnas one has to do as a householder life or sacrifices. And that 5 sacrifices are, first is Deva Yajna. Deva Yajna means offering sacrifices to demigods. Like you see a lot of, in India, you will see many people, they offer water in the morning to Surya Dev. So, correct? So like this simple example, Deva Yajna. Second is Atithi Yajna. Atithi Yajna means any guest coming at home, you should serve them. Food, water, place to sit, something you should offer them. Atithi Yajna or guest Yajna, sacrifice. Then third is Bhuta Yajna. Bhuta Yajna means offering sacrifices to other living entities. You will see in India, there is a custom where if you have anything, some food is there, you try to offer it to outside to cows or something, right? Or crows, you put something outside, or dogs, correct? Food something we give it to the animals as well. Like my wife tried here at home, so every day she was putting some foodstuffs outside, and every day by the morning she used to see that it is not there. So she got very happy that some jiva jantu, some bhutas are coming and they are taking the food. And I told her that it is very risky. This is a different place. She said no, it's all good. And then she was doing that every day. She kept on doing till 7 days. And then one day she was chanting and she saw a mouse coming, taking that food and running. After that she said that I skipped because mouse can sometimes even enter house. So anyways, the point is Bhuta Yajna. One has to offer food to other living entities. And then the fourth yajna is Brahma Yajna. Brahma Yajna means sacrifice through knowledge. Basically, we gain the knowledge. Vedic scriptures, we read Vedic scriptures. And fifth yajna is Pitra yajna, sacrifices to ancestors. If you think about it, it's so much effort, all these 5 yajnas. And that's why in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse, it's called Yatha Taror Mula Nishechanena. It is very difficult to perform all these different activities. Instead, what we do is water the root of the tree. That is Krishna. If you try to plant the tree, or if you are watering the tree, you will not water each and every leaf of the tree. It's just too much to do. Instead, what you will do is you will water the root of the tree. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is saying Yatha Taror Mula Nishechanena, that you water the root of the tree. Or when you are eating, the hand will not say that I want to have this gulab jamun, or I want to have this pastry, I want to keep this pastry. The hand, what it will do is, it will immediately give it to the mouth and feed the stomach, because if the stomach is full, stomach is satisfied, then all the limbs are satisfied. Imagine the tongue will say that I will keep the food with me only, I will not let it go down, right? Because the taste is so good. What will happen after some time? They will get tired, because the stomach is the one which is nourishing the entire body. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is saying that the root is Krishna. But if we can't do, then for ordinary men it is mentioned Panch Mahayajna, the 5 sacrifices one has to do. Okay. We'll go to the next words. We can directly read the translation now. We want to complete this section. Who wants to read the 13th translation?
The devotees of Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin.
Correct. So this is the place where Krishna is saying. Let's read the verse. This is important verse to remember. Yagya Sishtashina Santo Muchyante Sarvakil Vishaye Bhunjate Tvagam Papam Yet Pachantyatma Karanat. So this verse is talking about that whatever we are eating, we have to first offer it for sacrifice. And what is the remaining? That is the remnants. Then we should eat. Otherwise, it will have only sin. That's why people say, right? Oh, you are telling you are vegetarian, correct? You are vegetarian, but you are killing plants. This is major misconception. Oh, you are like this, You say you are not killing animals, but you are killing plants, correct? But Krishna is saying that you should not be vegetarian. You should be, basically, we call like this in ISKCON. We are Krishnatarian. Basically, we offer first to Krishna and then we eat. And then someone might say, okay, then I will offer, correct, I'll offer mas or anda to Krishna. But Krishna is saying in 9th chapter, verse number 26, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He says what he prefers, what are his dietary restrictions. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He doesn't say masam, andam, matanam. He's saying Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He's saying that leaf, water, fruits. Or Patram Pushpam Phalam, fruit or water. Like that. So this is his dietary restriction and we should follow it. Otherwise, whatever we are eating is nothing but sin. And obviously that is karma. We'll incur more and more karma. Imagine, and especially people who eat meat, if you think about it, will you like to go to a graveyard in the night and sit there for long hours? So many beautiful dead bodies, right? No. But we want to make our stomach a graveyard. Ants also will be scared to enter, right? But we are ready to make our stomach as a graveyard by killing. And other thing is, when we kill animal, just imagine, you think when you are killing an animal, one might say, oh, I'm not killing animal, right? I'm just getting ready-made chicken in my plate, right? Hot, correct? But if you see, indirectly the karma is coming. There are seven people who comes into karma cycle when they get into eating of meat. And it will not go there. But one of the person is the one who is eating. And if you just think, a person, when you kill someone, will he say, Kush raho, very happy, I am happy for you, you are killing me? No. First thing he will do is curse you. will curse you, right? And we are taking all that curses and we are thinking the chicken is so good. Correct? Go ahead.
I have a question. So, let's say you want to eat something very delicious, vegetarian. So, you prepare it, right? It's for yourself and your
Yes.
family.
Yes.
And then you offer it to God.
Yes.
I mean, it's a way of offering to God, right? God, you know God, it's not going to disappear. So, how is it? Sacrifice would be when you know maybe something will be there.
Correct.
So then,
Amazing.
how is it sacrifice?
Thank you. Everybody understood the question? Right? This is a very basic question. Right? Everybody has, including myself. Till I'm thinking. But it's a purificatory process. We start like that. And slowly, just by doing that, we become purified. And we start thinking that, okay, yes, right now I'm offering it because I like it. But then slowly we'll start asking that what Krishna likes, what he likes. Like for example, when there is Ram Navami, you want to make something which Lord Ramchandra likes. When there will be Narasimha Chaturdashi, when appearance of Krishna would be there, you will try to offer something that Krishna likes. Right? When there is Jagannath Ji's, when Jagannath Rath Yatra is happening, you will try to make 56 bhoga. If you see, you're not going to enjoy that 56 items. Right? So much effort is there to make 56 items. Maybe you will eat 5, 6, 7 items. Correct? After that you will say Mazhala. I mean I'm done. Correct? But you will still make that 56 items. Why? Because now that purificatory process is coming, you want to offer it to Krishna, you want to please Krishna. So yeah, I wanted to stay one story, but we are short of time. But it's a purificatory. At the start, we just do it as a duty. But slowly the duty will lead to love. There's the stages. First is fear. If I don't do, then I'll be doomed. Right? Second is duty. I should do it. Right? And like this, there are various stages. 4 stages by love. You're just doing it out of love. But at the start, it is okay to do as a duty.
Many people also then say that, oh, if it's still on the plate, that means he's not eating. You're just offering.
Yeah, that is mentioned in Upanishads that lordships, the same sense can do many activities. That's what Krishna. We'll see that in 11th chapter. We'll discuss that time more. So Krishna can eat through his eyes. We cannot understand that obviously because of our limited understanding and limited sense activities. But Krishna can do it. And we see that in our temple. If you come to our temple, I mean, you will see some devotees. They might not even like that item, but they'll still like to make it for Krishna. They'll still like to make it because Krishna loves it. And that is a process. It's a pretty good process. We just start somewhere. If you have to reach somewhere, you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. Right? So this is how we start. Okay, did that answer your question, Saya? Okay. Okay, we'll go to the 14th verse. So now there is another flowchart coming. Okay, the flowchart is how from Krishna Vedas come. From then Vedas prescribed duties come. From prescribed duties sacrifices come. Then from sacrifices rains comes. From rain grain come. I wanted to name it as rain to grain, this section, but then I thought maybe remnants are more. From rain, grain comes. From grains, jivas come in the sense of without grain you will not be existing. You will die, right? Everyone is subsisting on grains. And that cycle completes when that grains is offered by the jiva back to the Lord. From where everything that cycle comes. I wanted to show that cycle. I will put it in the group. Yeah. If you're not part of the group, just let me know. I'll add you in the group and I can share that cycle. So now that entire 14, 15, 16 is discussing that cycle from Lord to grain, how that cycle happens. Who wants to read the 14th translation? Now we'll just read the translations.
All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are
Right, agreed. All living entities. Nobody, you will not hear about any living entity which is eating stones and they are saying, it's not like Jadoo, sunlight, Krishna. So that happens in movies. Here they subsist on grains.
which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, and yajna is born of prescribed duties.
Someone might think, how from yajna rains are coming? Correct? We see that in Govardhan Leela. They are doing sacrifices. Why? So that Indra becomes happy. Correct? And then when demigods become happy, they get their fair share and then there is flow. Correct? So, okay, 15th.
Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality
So,
of God.
So what we said, from Vedas come prescribed duties. That's what mentioned. Prescribed duties are prescribed in the
Vedas.
Vedas or regulated duties. So from Vedas come regulated duties. Now we will see from where Vedas is coming. So if you see in the verse, it is called karma, which is duties. Then Brahma, we said, right? Brahma Yajna. Brahma means Brahma, correct? Lord Brahma. But Brahma also means Vedas, scriptures, knowledge. Correct? So that's what it's saying. Read ahead.
Consequently, the all-pervading transcendental.
No, wait. Regular activities are prescribed in the Vedas. Then read again that part.
Okay. And the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of God.
Right? And in the Sanskrit, if you see, it's called Brahma Akshara. Akshara means, in other words, Akshara also means, collation of Akshara is Shabda. Correct? So Shabda basically means the words of Krishna.
Word.
So from Krishna comes Vedas. Go ahead.
Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in the acts of sacrifice.
Right? And before that, it is mentioned, from sacrifice comes rains. From rains comes grains. And living entities subsist on grains. And when they offer it back to Krishna, the cycle completes. Otherwise, there we are stuck. Got that cycle? Little bit. Lord gives the knowledge. From knowledge, one performs the duties. That is the form of sacrifice. Right? Duties means you are doing 9 to 5 job. Correct? Sacrifice. From sacrifice comes rains. From rains comes grains. From grains, living entity subsists on those grains. And that cycle completes when you offer that back to the Lord from the source. Now we will enter the last verse. And we read the entire purport. Okay? Who wants to read the translation? And we'll stop there after that. Who wants to read the 16th translation?
I'll read it.
Go ahead.
My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain.
Right, so here he's saying that we have to complete that cycle. We have to do some sacrifice, otherwise it's a thief. Why? Imagine the boss is giving you the money, but you're not doing anything. Nothing you have done in 1 month, 2 month, 3 month time, right? So that sometime that karma will come. You will soon be put into VIP, right? So that's a sin. Basically, that's a karma. It will come. So one has to, if you're getting something in return, you have to reciprocate. Whatever we discussed till now is summarized in this purport now. So we'll read that purport and then we'll head back to Prasadam, Remnants. Okay, start. Who wants to read the purport?
I can read.
Yes, please go.
The Magnist philosophy of work very hard and enjoy sense gratification is condemned here
Right?
by the
Work hard, party harder. It's condemned here. You can party hard, but at the same time, there should be some sacrifice.
But what we can sacrifice in party?
I mean, because we're at an initial stage, right? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, party you can do. You can make something grand, prasadam. You can offer it to Krishna. We have our own parties, 31st party. We also do. But we have in our own ways. Once we had a party where we were watching Hare Krishna movie completely for 3 hours. And we slept at 3 o'clock. So, I mean, devotees are different modes. They will have different kinds of parties. So, yeah. But this party is different.
Therefore, for those who want to enjoy this material world, the above mentioned cycle of performing yajnas is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulations is living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. By nature's law, this human form of life is specifically meant for self-realization in either of the 3 ways, namely karma yajna, jnana yajna, or bhakti yoga. There is no necessity of rigidly following the performances of the prescribed yajnas for the transcendentalists who are above vice and virtue. But those who are engaged in self gratification require purification by the above mentioned cycle of yogic performances. There are different kinds of activities. Those who are not Krishna conscious are suddenly engaged in sensory consciousness, therefore they need to execute pious work. The yajna system is planned in such a way that the sensory conscious persons may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in the reaction of sense gratificatory work. The prosperity of the world depends not on our own efforts but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord, directly carried out by the demigods. Therefore, the yajnas are directly aimed at the particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. Indirectly, it is the practice of Krishna consciousness because when one masters the performance of yajnas, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. But if by performing yajnas one does not become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted as only moral truths. One should not therefore limit his progress only to the point of moral truths, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness.
So basically the entire section we are discussing that if you are not able to perform Bhakti Yoga to the fullest, you should at least try to do some sacrifices in some way or the other. But for Kali Yuga, the highest sacrifice that is mentioned is Sankirtani Yajna. Right? Kalir Doshani De Rajan Asti Ekam Anunan Kirtanad Eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramparasya. For this age of Kali, the highest dharma is Sankirtani Yajna, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And that's why you see a lot of transcendentalists, a lot of spiritual seekers. Every day in the morning, they chant the holy names of the Lord. You see in Christianity also, they have rosary beads. And in various other religions, similarly in Sanatana Dharma, also we chant the holy names of the Lord. And if in case you don't have the beads, you can ask us, it's there only. And every day morning, you can start with at least some rounds. If you have not started at all, you can start with one round at least. It takes only 7 to 8 minutes. I always think like one swipe of Facebook can be equivalent to 7 minutes of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And if you have been already doing, you can try to increase it. Yeah. Thank you very much for patiently listening. Hare Krishna. Now we will have Prasadam. Question answers maybe we can have during the Prasadam time. We can discuss. If anyone has any questions, we can discuss. Thank you again for coming, especially for people who have come for the first time. I know today's session somehow became a little lofty, but thank you for patiently listening. Really very good. Hare Krishna.